Welcome to Above the Garage.
Hi, friends. Welcome to our discussion of Season 4, Episode 6 of Industry. Let's do our round of introductions and dive in.
Hi, I'm Allie.
Hi, I'm Aubrey.
Hi, I'm Melissa.
And I'm Kate. This episode is entitled Dear Henry. It was directed by Luke Snellen and written by Mickey Down and Conrad Kay. And the cinematographer is Adam Lyons.
He is so good.
Yes.
He's done the last two episodes. I mean, all the cinematography on this show, especially this season, has been kind of next level. But
For
yeah,
sure.
the way that it was shot, the close-ups, the slow zooming close-ups, like sections of people's faces in close-up, the lighting.
Yeah, it was phenomenal.
It was just perfect. It was so well crafted and
Beautiful.
yeah.
It adds a lot to the story. No, I also noticed the cinematography is amazing this episode.
Mm-hmm.
Again, though, like you said, the whole season's been phenomenal.
Mm-hmm.
But especially this one.
I'm floored by how good that episode was. And rewatching it like fully, I was just like glued. I couldn't even take notes.
I think it's the best episode of the whole show to me.
Oh yeah,
It is.
100%.
Actually, it is. The rating is confirming. So,
Yeah.
So the episode opens up with a Yaz and Harper scene. We don't get as many of those this season, so I was excited to see Harper visiting Yaz in an attempt to protect Yaz from the impending fallout of Sweet Pea's Accra discoveries. But Yaz is seeing the visit differently. If Henry publicly bails on Tinder, that will drive the stock down, which is obviously what Harper wants. It entirely depends on how you see her character, whether she's trying to help her friend or using her once again, or both. For once, I'm on the protection side, I think. I liked when she said, and I'm paraphrasing, but something to the effect of, what with everything they've been through together, Harper thinks they owe each other some degree of protection.
I was surprised to see her, when we've had seen like little hints that this happening, this conversation in some of the previews. I wasn't expecting Harper to be like actually looking out for her.
Right, but you thought she was?
Yeah, I thought she was. I definitely thought she was.
Yeah, I did too.
I thought she was too, because I think, like, what other reason would she have to come there before her appearance specifically?
It makes sense from Yaz's perspective because she doesn't know the extent of the evidence they have, right?
Right.
Harper knows she doesn't really need anything else to take them down. But Yaz is thinking that she's just doing it because if the CEO steps down from the company, the stock will go down,
Exactly.
So I certainly understand Yaz's perspective and their history and everything, but
based on what's happened in the past, yeah.
Right. But I like that we all feel like Harper's actually trying to do her a solid for once.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Out of friendship.
I feel like she's had some growth.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it definitely feels like what you just said, Kate, that it's historically set up to be like the perfect storm where neither one of them can trust each other. Like, Yaz is right about Harper being kind of a mercenary.
Right. Yeah. Everything everyone says is pretty true, but
yeah,
multiple things can be true at once. So
right. And Harper's right about Yaz not wanting the ego hit of being wrong, So it's like from both sides, they can't have this conversation without bringing all of that baggage to it.
Right. And I think that Yaz too, she knows what she's saying is true about Whitney taking advantage of Henry and playing them for fools, but she's not going to admit it in front of Harper.
Yeah, because you can tell in the next scene that she's already feeling that way and clocked it in episode 4, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
During the hug when he walked off and you could see.
Right. I was surprised that Harper told her she's presenting this information at the conference tomorrow. It seems like, even as a friend, information that I would not have offered, especially with Whitney's trigger happiness. But
I was surprised to see Yaz go to the conference. I mean, we'll get there, but
yeah.
I think Harper in the last episode changed.
Yeah.
I think her perspective of the world and the friends changed.
Yeah.
So that's why she's saying Jasmine this.
Right.
She knows that there is history, but in the end, they are friends. And she's the closest in this world she has.
Right.
As a sister or a friend or someone important.
Yeah, I agree. I think last episode, Harper was feeling really lonely and realizing how many of her relationships are not actual, genuine friendships.
I also think like a lot of the crimes we're seeing unfold this season are so much bigger than anything Harper's really done. She's done a lot of like financial type shit and screwed people over in that way. But like now it's kind of like compared to what we're seeing, it's so
murder and
yeah, so it's kind of shining a different light on Harper, in my opinion.
Right. Put it in perspective.
Yeah, and if you think back on the Jesse Bloom stuff, which was season 2, 3?
3. And 2. I think he was
I think he started in 2, maybe?
In 2, yeah.
the end. Yeah.
Okay.
I think in season 3, though, is where she basically helps him manipulate the market live. Like he goes on
Right.
air and calls her and says, place this big trade, and then
Yeah.
immediately makes it go down. So in a way, like she kind of learned the shorting game through that,
Mm-hmm.
but also she was freaked out about that at the time. So it's kind of like comparing that to this, you know, she's slowly seeing the underbelly of everything, I guess, and getting more
Desensitized?
yeah, she's getting more desensitized to all this stuff.
Mm-hmm. Agreed.
Whitney seems to be aware that Tony Day is feeling real spooked, and he attempts to either reassure him or threaten him, or both, that he's coming to see him as soon as he meets with Jacob, their shady auditor. I would like to take this moment to announce I still don't understand all of Whitney's trips to Accra. I doubt it's been necessary to reassure Tony on the monthly before this, and they don't even have any real businesses to be checking in on. Have you guys figured that out yet?
No, but I would like to know how long it takes because it seems like he just bopped over there real quick.
We looked it up last week.
6.5 hours.
Yeah.
Okay.
So a long day for him to go there and back.
There and
later.
back, right.
And to not have the person there that he wanted to be there.
Yeah.
Right.
Like, that's all he did there, I guess. That was funny. Well played, Tony. When he hangs up, we learn the scandalous detail that Whitney is in Henry's house. And not just that, his bedroom. And not just that, he's watching him in the shower and then approaching him until he's like a foot away. And this is when Whitney starts with his mental Dear Henrys. First one, Dear Henry, there's a hole in my bucket, which is a silly children's song, but an appropriate one for the mess Henry has made for himself. Henry finally turns and notices Whitney watching him shower, and he is not upset about it. Very much not upset. By the way, Whitney's holding a bouquet of flowers, which really added to the whole vibe to me.
At first, I thought he had flowers for Henry.
I thought that
Right.
too. Yes.
I feel like maybe he did. I don't know.
Yeah. I just recently rewatched The Talented Mr. Ripley.
Yes, this
And
felt so,
This
yeah.
scene just felt so Tom Ripley vibes,
Yes.
which is just
Yeah.
funny because his dad directed that movie, and I think he was on
Right.
set for that movie, so I feel like he definitely channeled that.
Mhm.
For sure.
I would be curious to know if he channeled that at all.
Mhm.
I felt that so much throughout the episode. I'm glad that you did too.
Yes.
Absolutely.
And guys, this song that Henry was singing is in the shower was the same that Charles, Jasmine's father, sang before jumping.
Really?
Oh.
Oh, good call.
Interesting.
That's something that they were saying on Twitter.
Interesting.
So it's not my thing.
No, good research.
Wow, people are so smart.
Yes.
They are.
The fan base is very detailed.
I mean, you have to be in the show, right?
Right.
I'm not gonna lie, I am utterly confused still with a lot of everything that's happened in this, but
Same.
people online have helped me figure things out.
Yeah, Whitney seems genuinely attracted to Henry in the scene, right? Because like the shower voyeurism thing isn't for show because no one's watching him.
Right. I felt like yes. I mean, obviously everything he does needs to be questioned and is generally not authentic, but it felt like it to me, yes.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that ass was really a sight.
But I was confused because he did have a chance at the club to score with Henry, I think, without any question, and he does not do that. So
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm always just baffled by him.
I have some thoughts on that, but we'll get to that, I guess.
Yeah, same. I felt like the club scene was very manipulative, but
I think there was a combo, but yeah.
in that shower scene, like how close he got to Henry, I was like, I feel like I notice any little thing that's happening when I'm in the shower. Maybe this is
Right.
just part of being like a female. If I'm showering alone, I'm just super aware of everything, even at home.
Yeah.
So I don't know, just how, I mean, he was right there. He was breathing on him pretty much.
Yeah, that was
Yes.
weird. I agree.
Yeah.
There's no way I wouldn't notice, I think. But
It wasn't realistic at all.
yeah.
The shot was very cool and it added to the
Yes.
creepiness for sure. But
Oh,
I had
yeah.
the same thought, Allie, where I was just like, how does he not sense that somebody is literally breathing on his neck right now?
Breathing down his neck, right? Literal.
But yeah, I agree. It was such a cool, creepy, ominous, and the music going on in the background, very ominous.
The music in this whole episode really adds a lot. It's very like
so good.
Comes in real creepy when it needs to and really intense.
Yeah.
Adds to what you're feeling.
I noticed it especially at the end. It was like really creepy.
Yep.
So why is Whitney renting this house for Yaz and Henry? That kind of confused me. Like, I know that their manor or whatever is far away, but Henry is way richer, right? Like,
right. However, I would say probably there's cameras in it, and so he's able to control that easier.
God, you're right.
Yeah.
Gross.
It is so gross, but I do think that's probably like the entire motivation.
Yeah.
It's harder to get cameras in a house that you don't, control as much.
Comes off as generous, but really,
yeah,
got cameras in every room. Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
And maybe the company just has houses for people to stay at occasionally. Who knows?
That all have cameras in them. Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
It does.
The actor who plays Tony Day, Stephen Campbell Moore, is doing a really good job this episode, I think, of seeming like super paranoid about every little thing. Like on the call, he doesn't even say one word. You just get him reacting to Whitney speaking. He doesn't even say hello, nothing. Like he just listens and hangs up. And just in those few seconds, you get so much what he's feeling and just...
Yeah, he's great.
He doesn't know what to do. And yeah, it's really good. And then later with the coffee where he spills it on the table and stuff, like...
Yeah. He was shaky and nervous. Yeah.
And also what you said, Kate, about Henry, like not minding that Whitney is watching him. I feel like it's from both sides. Like Whitney doesn't mind that he was caught.
Right.
And Henry doesn't mind that he's watching. Like he literally turns around and just stares at him and smiles at him and stuff. And you're just like, he kind of likes this attention. He's into it.
For sure. Yes.
Yaz is totally right when she says that later.
Right.
And once he backed away from him being in the shower, he still stood like in eye view, like he wasn't trying to hide at all.
No. Which makes it very funny when Yaz like comes in and just blows up with the polar opposite vibe to Henry's.
Yeah.
Immediately starts screaming at Whitney because what the fuck is he doing there? Henry rushes out of the shower to defend Whitney and gaslight Yaz into thinking she's the one being crazy here. And then Whitney has the nerve to give Yaz the flowers on his way out, which she immediately throws on the floor. So funny.
Henry is so condescending to Yaz in this whole episode.
Oh, I know. He's so mean.
He's so
I hate it. Yeah.
I think he's hurt because he knows that Jazz doesn't love him like he wants to, because I don't think Henry loves Jazz neither. So.
No, I don't think there's real love there.
Well, and I think he wants her to treat him the way Whitney is.
Exactly.
Like he wants her to enable him. And I mean, even though he did say in episode, was it 4 before the speech where he's like, why would you offer me a lorazepam? You know that I can't have that. But now it's kind of like he wants to be built up and constantly praised and worshipped almost. And Yaz is not doing that. So
right. Well, and it's like what he says in a couple scenes from now when he tells her, I don't know whether loving you properly is to make you aware of things you cannot see, or is it more loving to perpetuate your delusions? And this is coming from a man who spent his birthday with his stepfather. But, it's more of like how often in this show it happens where a character says something that's actually like truer about themselves.
Exactly. Yeah.
He would like her to maintain his delusions and she's not doing it.
And part of what he says to her is true in that scene, too.
Oh, yeah. It usually goes for everyone.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the only other thing in this scene I think that I missed is Henry had previously admitted giving a guy a blowjob during his school days, a secret he probably regrets sharing with her right now. But no bother. He assures her it's completely normal and quote unquote, everyone knows you can be a homo at school. Ugh, Henry.
The school is prison line got me though. That was pretty funny.
Right before, yes. It is. I felt like that too.
He obviously has repressed some things.
Yes, very much so. He's repressing them less this episode, though.
Yeah.
But trying to gaslight her in such a ridiculous scene of what she walked in on. It's ballsy.
Yeah. It's interesting to me that she picks up on Whitney wanting to fuck Henry. I think she's, more intuitive than I thought.
I guess in that realm, though, that's kind of the same place she plays in. That's the version of chess she's playing.
Right.
So maybe it's more relatable to her. I don't know.
That's a good point. Yeah.
Next up, Bevan's having a meeting with America. The line that stuck out for me from this scene was, Some here think Americans got bored of having the best lives, so they elected a narcissistic dementiac to detonate it all so that their kids might earn factory workers' wages building widgets pathetically stamped Made in America. That was very depressing, but very accurate and a great line. The writing in the show.
Do we assume that was about Trump?
Yes.
So they're still using Trump as our president in this fictional world. Okay, interesting. Yeah.
Without saying his name.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, it was clever.
It's precisely how it feels.
Right.
It was also really ballsy of her to even say that with the American guy in the room who was clearly president's staff or something, right?
Right. Certainly a supporter.
Working for him.
Yes. It probably felt very good for her, though.
Yeah. Good job
for her.
Yeah.
So do we think that this was mostly just showing that the US and UK relationship involved different regulations? Because later they're talking about the audits needing to be done slightly differently for US.
Yeah. That makes sense.
A US expert needs to come in, and you can tell that's making them nervous because of the relationship with Jacob. So I think this was kind of setting the groundwork of like, now that we have this relationship with the US, things might have to be done differently.
Okay.
Is that what you guys took from that?
Yeah.
That makes sense to me because I questioned the inclusion of this scene, like the necessity of it before, but I think that's a perfect reason to have included it.
I also feel like it was included just to show the power that Tender has if it's having meetings with
this global,
with the US, like
important people,
one of the most powerful countries.
Right.
Yeah, good point.
And I think Tender is way more powerful than the UK. It's more used in the US. So it's like later Harper says to Whitney, you should stay in the United States if you don't want your finance be audited or whatever.
For people to care where your money came from. Yeah.
That line.
That's a good point.
Exactly.
Right.
Do we know why he moved it to the UK? I don't remember if they ever said that.
Don't remember the reason. I think it's because they want to move more for the European continent.
To get that market.
Yeah, I think they're interested in that market, the whole European, Asia, Africa market.
And maybe the proximity to some of these places that they're having to do business with and across.
Right. That makes sense.
Yeah, and the bank.
It's harder to go to Ghana and back in a day from America. Even harder.
And I think if they have the UK government support, it's more easy to find investors, banks approval. I think that weighs a lot in the marketing, financial stuff.
Yeah.
Back with Henry and Yaz, Henry informs Yaz that he's repaired his relationship with alcohol. Easy peasy. And unsurprisingly reveals it was Whitney who got him to start drinking again after Web Horizon. Harper's message is definitely fully seeping in with Yaz. She sees clearly how Whitney's playing Henry now, but is it too late? Henry does not and will not listen and spends the scene attacking Yaz and accusing her of wanting him to be out of control so that there's any point to her. And he twists the dagger once more before the scene ends with the line we talked about before about not knowing how to love her properly.
Yeah, this dialogue is so interesting to me because he's saying one thing that's pretty wrong, like about Yaz being wrong about Whitney, but then another that's spot on, which is just that her nature, her transactional, cold way is visible to people. And then what Kate said earlier, like that's reflecting back to Henry because he's being used the same way. You know, Whitney's been using that in both of them.
Yes.
Yeah, that's interesting.
And I think they both mention undermining each other's success. So they're both in a very delicate situation. Like they're not confident about their lives. So they're also not united as they were at the end of the episode 2 and episode 3. So I think Whitney is getting under the skin.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think some of Henry's confidence is coming back though, and it's like it's making him such an asshole. And Yaz wanted this, but now she hates what she helped to urge on in him. You know, like she pushed him to do this, not that he's not responsible for it, of course he is. But, you know, Henry doesn't want anyone to challenge him to change or adjust his behavior. He just wants an enabler. So I think like Whitney's having more success in pulling him to his orbit and away from Yaz, because Whitney's just like, you're so great, I love you.
I think Henry's in a little bit of denial too, because we see later that he actually kind of sees through Whitney
Yeah.
a little bit more than we thought. And I think he's just in denial, and he's feeling good. He's feeling confident. He's like, this can't, what she's saying to me, we can't question him right now. I can't, it would break Henry. So I think there's a bit of that going on too.
Definitely. And actually, he said something like that in a previous episode where he was like, I can't have another loss, or I can't, this can't affect me like this again. Or
so like, I think he's really just, this cannot happen. This cannot be happening. Don't even go there.
Yeah, he loves the attention and is just looking the other way on the other stuff, because that's what he needs right now.
Whitney is very successful reading Jasmine and Henry, defects and flaws and need for attention. So he's playing his cards well enough, but eventually the doubts get the effect in Whitney's trust about what he's saying. Like, he can't keep the narrative he's been writing, you know?
I think it's interesting in this scene also, though, that you can see that Henry, like you guys are saying, knows this, because Yaz says, do you think he gained our confidence too easily? And then Henry literally says, yeah, ours and the world's. Perhaps he deserves a little fucking respect. So it's like, he knows that Whitney's conning everybody. And he even says later, he's like, he calls the auditor dinner a confidence scam Whitney's running. And later he doesn't care that he's lying about his personal stuff. Like, I can't tell where the line is for Henry on what he...
Right. But later he says, I don't mind a little character fraud as long as you're pure of heart. And I don't think it's just character, it's business fraud. He's aware of this is all quite shady, but he's enjoying the attention enough to look the other way, which is really stupid, but here we are.
Also, we've talked about this before, but like, I get that Henry has alcohol and drug problems, but no one is talking about the mental health stuff.
Yeah, I feel like this episode, obviously I'm not a medical professional and I could never diagnose him, but like, what seems like it could be bipolar tendencies, as we've watched from episode 2 at his utter lowest, and now he's all confident, and she kind of, Yaz does kind of say that, because you're feeling so like high. I can't remember the wording exactly, but it's just a real roller coaster with him. And yes, I agree. She's aware and she's scared.
Yeah, but she also has no respect for that kind of thing. She's very flippant about mental health stuff, obviously. So
right. And now the auditors I was wondering about in the last episode, it all makes more sense now. It looks like Whitney has also used sex to get what he wants from this guy. Sex and expensive wine. And what he wanted was straight up fraud. The auditor did issue a qualified opinion, though, which is bad. It tells the world there are concerning issues in your financials, and it should result in a stock drop in and of itself. It's not as bad as an adverse opinion, but I'm pretty shocked they're not more upset about that. The auditor tries to rationalize the balance sheet question marks as different local customs and protocols resulting in delays in payments, when we know that not to be remotely true, since there is no money backing these payments at all. You see Whitney watching Henry carefully throughout the dinner and the whole episode.
He's just really starting to clock things in this episode. Like, he's him holding Jacob's hand or reaching for Jacob's hand. And I couldn't tell, is he thinking like, okay, I'm seeing how he's appealing to people's desires, and that's getting them in his corner and like literally under his thumb,
Yeah, I think this scene was big for that, like him understanding.
What if he's doing the same to me?
Right, exactly.
I just wanted to say that I was very pleased to see Stephen Creek, who plays an important role in Outlander, and was very gratifying to hear him say Slante.
Oh, yeah. Nice.
It was really good.
Right.
I love him. He's really nice in the videos with BTS and Outlander. It's so funny. Yeah.
So during that scene, I kind of was having the same sort of, is he clocking? I mean, I think he was clocking some of the manipulation, but I was also sort of like, or is he more so thinking about the fact that he's going to just get fucked up? And he's like, there's alcohol in front of him, and he's like, knowing that that's where this is going to head. I couldn't tell like what it was that he was more in his head about, because at the end...
That's a good point too, yeah. I hadn't thought about that, but yeah.
The end, you could see Whitney watching him take a drink, and then once he takes the drink, he was like, that's really good. Yeah, that's really good.
Worth the wait or something.
Yeah.
Good point. I bet that was stressing him out because it is about to snowball
a lot.
Yeah, as we see right after.
Yeah.
But yeah, because Whitney's doing the thing that Jonah said, right? Like he's getting everybody around him drunk to make them easier to
more pliable.
manipulate. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. The way he was watching Henry take that drink, it was very creepy.
Yeah. And he takes him out dancing afterwards, knowing how to play him and gain his trust, and more importantly, the leverage that Whitney wants. Explains it point blank in the letter he's writing him in his mind. Dear Henry, you have to be the person who makes the other feel safe in the fullest expression of who they really are. As we watch them dancing together, again, I'm surprised he stopped short of hooking up with him. Instead, leading him to a glory hole in the bathroom and caressing him and talking to him while he gets off.
Things you never thought you'd say on this podcast.
No, I didn't.
Glory hole.
There's a lot of things during this show that I never thought I would say.
The line that Kate just read, though, you have to be the person who makes the other feel safe. I felt like that was so precisely describing what Whitney is doing with Henry, but also kind of feels real to me. Like it feels like something that Whitney wants to, you know?
I agree.
Like I think a lot of what's happening to Henry is something that Whitney wishes was happening to him.
Yeah.
And maybe that makes it easier for him, or it makes him better at being able to give that to Henry because it's genuine, because that's what he wishes he could feel. Do you know what I mean? So like he's basically worshiping Henry in the scene, like caressing him, like whispering in his ear, telling him all the things that make him feel good. And it's like he wants to be that. Whitney wants to be that.
Yes.
That's an interesting point, yeah.
In that moment, I realized that he wasn't attracted to Henry as much as he was like wanting to be him, you know? Like he is attracted to Henry, but I think he desires more to be Henry. So
like he's attracted to the idea of Henry, kind of.
Of Henry, exactly.
Another callback to the talented Mr. Ripley.
Yep.
Exactly. I was reading an article and the creators were saying that they took the idea of Mr. Ripley to create Whitney.
Oh.
Yes.
That's validating. I like to hear that. Yeah. I mean, it came through really strongly. Not sure if it was the Anthony Minghella part of it or what, but I was just like, wow. I just really loved this scene. I thought it was it was so immersive, and just the music playing and the chemistry they had and how fucked up Henry was. Like he just looked out of it, like so out of it.
Yeah, when they're dancing and Whitney's like touching him and he's just like lifting his hands above his head and stuff, and you can tell he's just like on another planet essentially.
Right. And then Whitney, on the other hand, is all there. Like who knows if he was probably sober.
Right.
He's just like knowing what to do to get Henry where he wanted him. And the whole glory hole thing, like they might as well have been hooking up with each other.
Well, that's another thing I keep thinking too, is like all of their sort of sexy, creepy / sexy moments are kind of voyeuristic in some way. Like there's the shower thing. There's, maybe this doesn't really count, but like the moment where Whitney's taking Jacob's hand and kind of like looks at Henry, almost like, watch me do this. I don't know. There was something happening there that I couldn't quite figure out. And then, of course, this scene where it's like, I'm not going to hook up with you. I want you to hook up with someone, and then I'm going to just touch you sensually while you're doing it, you know? Like, it just feels very much like it has to involve some kind of an outside thing, or, voyeuristic. I don't know how else to say that, really.
That's the perfect word.
Yeah.
Now I can not think about the sperm retention.
Oh, the comment episode?
Yes.
Yeah, that's true.
I think Whitney gets off on manipulating people.
Well, I think he gets off on watching other people be the king. Do you know what I mean? Like watching Henry have all this like attention on him. I don't know.
I think he just likes fucking him up and knowing like,
yeah,
that's probably true.
He's ruining him right now.
Yeah.
With everything.
I was definitely expecting them to like have more of like a little romantic moment.
Yeah.
To me, it felt very much pure manipulation at this club. Like, yeah, he's attracted to him, but it was very calculated. And I mean, it was just nice to have to be touching him and stuff, but it was I just felt like it was top tier manipulation.
Yeah, I agree. I was surprised by that.
Wouldn't have minded a kiss.
Maybe he enjoys that.
No, I do think he enjoys that. They both are having a fun night.
Yeah.
You know, in some ways, maybe that's like the way that he accesses intimacy, Whitney.
Yeah.
Right, because the whole thing with Harper.
Yes. Yeah, I think he enjoys the power of his manipulation against people.
Yes.
So I think that's the thing that
Turns him on. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. I think he gets off on it for sure.
I do think a lot of scenes in this episode, though, give you this feeling of like, oh, I'm seeing some emotion. We've talked about this before, but like, or I'm seeing some kind of real person under all these masks or all these layers.
With Whitney?
Yeah. And then you get to the end and you're just like, no, actually, it makes him even more of an enigma than I realized. Like, it makes it, I don't know. Now I'm even more confused.
Yeah. I have no grasp on Whitney at this point.
Which I love. I love that.
Yeah.
I got the sense that he's a puppet for someone higher than him, which he basically says. We'll get into that later, but
that's really interesting. Yeah.
But this episode just showed kind of the mask kind of being taken off a little bit in certain moments.
Yeah, there were moments where like, you know, no one was watching, where you just see his face and you're like, what's going on in there? What do you think?
Yeah, I would like to know that.
Yeah.
Always Menigna. Wait, how do you pronounce
Enigma?
it?
Enigma.
Menigma is pretty great. I'm gonna keep that.
Okay, yeah. Why not?
Cute, very cute.
Enigma.
Can we also just very quickly talk about the sound effect? Again, the sound effect when
of the glory hole?
Yeah, when Henry like presses himself against the wall and it's like the music doesn't even drown it. You can just hear everything about it. Great. Thank you so much, industry. Thank you.
Help me understand what actually happens with glory holes, because I didn't know if it's like a hand.
No.
The guy that touches his hand went behind the wall and then sucked his dick.
Okay, that's what I gathered.
And it seemed like Henry was a little confused by that too, because Whitney had to be like, "You gonna go over there?"
Yeah.
Whitney's so helpful though. Come morning, they're sitting on a wall looking over the water. Whitney lying about feeling bad about letting him get fucked up on his watch. Things don't seem as awkward between them after the night they had, though, which is impressive. Henry posits that euphoria is maybe the whole point of life and shares that his dad was a partier too and loved it until he forgot that and killed himself. When Whitney confesses he doesn't believe in suicide, by the way, that made me think he's probably going to kill himself before the end of this show.
Suicide references in this episode made me think the same thing.
Yeah.
I didn't think that.
I had never thought of that before because there's a thing in the trailer where he's walking down a hallway and it looks like he's being attacked. So I kept thinking like someone's going to kill him. But this episode definitely made it seem like he's going to kill himself.
Yeah. We will see. Whitney shares one probable lie too many that his mom tried to kill herself too, and Henry finally becomes suspicious of Whitney's motives, or announces his suspicions, and the truth of his story. He straight up accuses him of character fraud, but then assures him he's okay with a little fraud, as long as your heart is pure. I was surprised by that turn in this scene.
Yeah, Henry's really starting to see more than I think Whitney expected him to see.
I have a question about his comment he made saying, "It's okay, Whitney, I have plenty of middle class friends." What was that supposed to mean?
I think that it made Whitney kind of realize that he's never going to be Henry.
Because Whitney was so affected by that comment. He was just like, the look on his face after, it was just but then he like touched his leg and said, "I'm really glad to know you."
Yeah, I thought that he would be offended by that, but actually I don't think he was. I think he was kind of like
calmed by it or something.
I think he felt exposed after that.
Exposed, yeah.
Yeah. And I think the way that Henry is calling out Whitney as a liar, but he's like thinking that Whitney is using these lies as an armor to pretend to be someone that he's not. And this is like very common in middle class because you have to fit in society somehow. So I think that's why Henry is saying this. And I first took it that Whitney was offended by it, but then I realized that maybe he felt exposed. So when he's leaving for a minute, I thought he was going to throw Henry in the river. but
That would have been funny.
Wouldn't have
yeah.
minded seeing them in there swimming around together.
I think maybe it made him realize, like, because we're getting hints of this letter that he's writing to Henry
Mm-hmm.
about how he's gonna get fucked over.
Mm-hmm.
And I think maybe he's just realizing, like, yep, you're gonna get screwed. I'm gonna screw you over here in a moment. Just wait. Like maybe some of these comments he's making and how he's feeling exposed, like Melissa's saying, he's just realizing, like, he's feeling better about the fact that I don't know. I don't know if this man even has any empathy at all. So who knows?
I think he manufactures the empathy, you know, like
Mhm.
he has none.
Yeah. No.
Yeah. I think because he was so honest with Henry about things like saying, you're more, I am less. Like, obviously, that's a manipulation tactic, but it's also kind of true. It's kind of how he feels, really. So he's saying stuff like that, and Henry is getting a glimpse into it. So Henry's just reflecting that back to him in a way. So it's like, I'm not surprised that you would say this, but
Yeah.
I'm never going to
Yeah.
be you. I don't know.
Yeah.
This is another moment, though, when Henry said that about the middle class friends that seemed so condescending. Like he's just fully embracing this like cunty personality that is sort of backfiring on everybody because Yaz manipulated him and then he was like, he turned into his original cunty self. And then now Whitney's doing it. I don't know. Whitney doesn't seem surprised that Henry doesn't believe him either. Really. Did you guys think that? Like about the family comments?
No, he didn't. He seemed, yeah, I agree. He seemed just like, okay,
Yeah.
you got me. He didn't try to explain himself. He just sort of let it exist.
Mm-hmm.
I actually thought he was surprised.
Oh, really?
He just took like a long moment of absorbing it and not, I mean, he didn't show it on his face really, but for whatever reason, I got the impression that he was surprised because he really thinks Henry's not that intelligent, in my opinion. And so, but it was, you know, it's okay because he was okay with it.
Right. Maybe that's part of it is that the fact that it didn't bother Henry.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that surprised me also.
Whitney definitely had some realizations of some sort happening, as we saw on his face when it sort of zoomed in on him. But what he was thinking, we just can't be sure.
Yeah, I kind of love that we can watch the same moment and have different reactions on it because you can see how it could be played either way.
Yeah.
I really like that.
Yeah, me too. He's an enigma, as she said. I have no idea what's right.
Yeah, he's doing so great with that.
Max was great
Yeah.
at that scene.
Oh, good.
His face was changing. It was beautiful.
It's so nice to see him in this role, just so different than ever before. And he's just really doing the material he's being able to work with. It's just so.
It's so much more complicated than other stuff he's done, I think.
Yeah.
The lighting in the scene was beautiful too. I just love that dawn.
Yeah, I like that too.
Sky and the color on their skin, and it was just beautiful.
Mhm.
And really, we didn't talk about it, but the lighting in the previous thing in the club scene, excellent. So good.
Yes, I love the lighting in the club scene.
Yeah.
Excellent lighting. I look forward to seeing the screenshots that Kimberly produces of them
For sure.
in this whole episode.
Also, the pink title card, the hot pink title card they're doing this year.
Yeah.
They've had a different color every year.
Yeah, I like this year.
And I just really like that. They have like a scheme of like,
Yeah.
this is the vibe of the season.
Yeah. At the Women in Business conference, Eric chooses a unique pep talk. Remember fucking up that speech in college? Don't do that. Would not be the best way to motivate me, but it seems to work. Although Harper's presentation annoys me, it's just a straight up plug for her trade, for her company. Honestly, she could have used Sweet Pea or somehow kept it a bit more on topic. Tell the whole story of the last episode, in fact. Anyway, that's not what she does. But she does seemingly convince the audience of Tinder's ruse as more people rush in as she goes on, including Yaz. She closes with another apt children's tale. The Emperor's clothes were shed some time ago. He's naked, he's afraid, as well he should be. And then you see Whitney on the plane. He had a lot of plane time in this episode. I didn't like it.
Can't get away from him.
I was really impressed with how well Harper spoke in public.
Yeah.
I mean, yes, it was a bit of an annoying plug, but the way she like delivered and carried herself, I always just admire people who can speak like that in public because I cannot.
Yeah.
And it was just, she's young, and the fact that she can just easily and eloquently do that was impressive.
Yeah, and confidently.
Yeah.
Also, I really like her outfits, and she's gorgeous.
She looked really, really beautiful in this episode. I just
Agreed.
Yeah. And the powerful shoulder pads that she wore.
Shoulder pads, yeah.
The shoulder pads are
They're
serving in
back.
this episode. Yeah.
They are.
I think that's totally a power move.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I felt the same, Allie. I thought that it was very, like if I had been in that audience, I would have been swayed by that. And people were on their computers, like immediately looking stuff up and making notes, I guess.
I would have been entranced.
Yeah. Ferdinand, this was one of those moments where I was like, okay. I mean, the whole show so far, I've been like, who the fuck is Ferdinand?
I know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I love everything about what comes out in this episode. But like in this moment, he looked almost smug during Harper's speech. Like he had this like little smirk. What did you guys think about that?
I didn't understand it either. I also focused on it and was
confused.
Once again, unclear what's going through his head. Yeah.
Same.
Maybe it's just the same thing that Whitney does, where it's like anything that challenges them, they immediately
double down and
they just go to like, we're above this. This isn't going to affect us.
Right. I think that's the best description I can come up with.
Well, maybe in his head, he's just thinking like, you were screwed now that you've gone and tried to screw us. I don't know. Who knows? They seem like they're capable of violence.
Definitely.
Or we know that they are.
Right. The next scene is Whitney arriving to Tony Day's office, only to find Tony's absconded to London, which of course infuriates Whitney. Pretty funny though.
Absconded? What a great
Is that
word.
a word? Okay.
Yes.
I was like, I think that's good.
No. I was just impressed by that usage. Thank you.
Meanwhile, Henry is finishing up with a couple of women as Yaz finally gets hold of him. She's been looking for him all night, also infuriated, for good reason. Harper has successfully tanked the tender stock while he's been high and fucking who knows who.
I was fully expecting them to be men in the hotel room.
Yeah.
They were at a gay club. I was like,
you're right. It's surprising.
I was sort of thinking maybe the opposite in the sense of like he had that moment and now he needs to like overcompensate.
Overcompensate, yes.
That's a good point too, yeah. I'm also curious what's going to happen to the cheating clause in their...
Oh.
Yeah, good point.
But wasn't that just on Yaz's end or was it for both of them?
Oh, I just assumed it was both.
I assumed it was for both.
Because his was about using... And he's obviously doing that.
Right. He's checked all the boxes at this point.
Yeah, everything has been nullified from that prenup, for sure.
Well, and who knows? He's probably been cheating on her all along, but yeah.
Well, and it definitely feels like it was escalated by the Haley thing.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
But I think the cheating clause is only for Jasmine.
Oh,
okay.
I think that's what they said in the fight in episode 2, yeah. Like, his was using and hers was cheating.
You only get to choose one.
I don't know why. That's the impression I got.
Maybe they only can use one.
Yeah.
We don't know how prenups work. I don't know.
Yeah.
Then it flashes to Whitney looking at the stock drop on his plane, writing another Dear Henry in his head. To he who has everything, more will be given, but whoever does not have, even what they do have, will be taken away. Whitney looks very sad as his plane is gearing up to land in London and his plane phone is ringing off the hook. So he writes another. Dear Henry, I'm a pathological optimist. Dear Henry, we're too close now to lose faith. Dear Henry, we are hardwired to live. Finally, after that one, he convinces himself to pick up the phone to Ferdinand, telling him they've lost $1 billion in market cap and they need to respond. He asks if Yaz is there, their head of communications, as of like yesterday. But she and Henry are both MIA. They run through some available options that don't seem like they'll be nearly sufficient, while Whitney listens and nervously massages his own neck.
He does a couple of things like that where you can see the physical tension coming out. And I feel like that's the first time you see that in the character.
Right, in the whole season.
He's so controlled and in charge, and then now you can see it in those little moments, and I like that.
Yeah, actually getting to him.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, he's still like verbally trying to pretend that this isn't the huge deal that it is, but then Ferdinand reminds him of the PurePoint call provision that's going to be triggered by the stock price decline. They need cash and they need it now. But yeah, same thing. That's why I noticed it so much, because he's normally keeps himself perfectly still and unbothered.
Composed. Yeah.
Yes, composed. Good word.
I liked Ferdinand saying maybe she was over-promoted and Whitney being like, point taken.
Yeah.
You think?
Hard to argue that at this moment.
Yeah. Also, the guy who suggests selling the acquisitions in Accra,
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, you mean the worthless acquisitions?
Yeah. Sure, that'll work.
That was my note also.
Yeah.
Like, they can't sell anything.
Right. No way to produce cash.
Like not even their employees, like top employees are aware of what is
Right.
going on behind the scenes.
And they're just so naively accepting all of this too. Like they're not even questioning it,
Yeah.
even though there's very clear reason to question at this point.
Yeah.
There was a really good slow zoom on Ferdinand in this scene where he's just on the phone and it just goes in on his eye. It was very cool. It just feels very like everything's closing in. It's very claustrophobic. There's stuff later with Max like that too that I really gives you a vibe for the scene for sure. And the voiceovers perfectly match the content of the scene, like him amending the letter. Like every time he amends it, it has something to do with what's happening in the scene you're watching. I like that.
Sweet Pea announces they've got Tony Day, thanks to Burgess. Kwabena offers to accompany Sweet Pea, and both Harper and Sweet Pea look at him like, what the fuck was that? Well, he's just smiling adorably. Is that just because he likes Sweet Pea? Why do you think he offered that?
Yeah.
Probably, yeah.
It was cute.
And they're both like over it at this point, Harper and Sweet Pea.
I think they were just like shocked. Her face has healed remarkably, considering this can't be more than a few days later. Eric's heard Whitney's going on CNN to correct the story, so Eric and Harper agree that he should join him there. Also, we get a Jesse Bloom update. His CIO, Preston Carnahan, for Jesse's new company, Crotona Park, was at the conference, and it sounds like he's the huge institutional short being built that we heard referenced earlier.
We also got the cameo from Anraj that used to work with Rishi in Pierpoint.
Yeah.
When he walks in.
Yeah, that was nice to see. I thought we were going to see more of him, but we really just had that very, very brief sighting.
I wonder if he had lines that got cut or something, because that seemed like a weird small appearance.
Or maybe we'll see him again.
Yeah. Or maybe, see him later.
Kwabena announces Tinder's down 20% today in the US, and Eric makes him write it out old school style on their office whiteboard before Eric thanks Harper for his favorite ever day in finance, and everyone toasts.
Kwabena putting boobs as the last 2 zeros.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was funny. Right on par with his character.
Whitney's back in the office, and now it's Haley's turn to confront him. We were both on the right and wrong track with their relationship. They are not fully in cahoots, but he did send her into the Yaz and Henry marital bed purposefully. It turns out he hires all of his assistants from an escort service. But Haley's had enough. Something bad happened in Abu Dhabi that has made her feel unsafe ever since. And then there's the huge revelation that the famous Hotel Dolly that was blowing Eric in the last episode is Haley's little cousin. So not even just all the deaths in this show, but all the sex is being orchestrated by Whitney too. He's everywhere.
He's Epstein.
Oh,
It's so
it is.
Epstein vibes. Creepy.
It's so great. You know what's weird? Okay. When I was an executive assistant, like right out of college, which is how I started at JER, I was executive assistant for the CFO, whom I love. But the CEO of the company, their assistant was unavailable to go on a last minute trip to Abu Dhabi. And for whatever reason, they chose me to go with him to Abu Dhabi until I realized that my passport was back at my parents' house 4 hours away. So I couldn't go on this trip to Abu Dhabi with him, right? And then fast forward many, many years to last week, or whenever the new Epstein files came out, and this guy, our CEO, I'm very sad to say, is in Epstein files.
What?
So I'm just saying, the Abu Dhabi reference and the...
Triggering for you.
Yeah, it was just, it's great. I didn't go.
Who
Sure, it
knows
would have
what
been
would have
nothing,
happened.
but it was interesting that it was Abu Dhabi, and he's Epstein, and this happened last week in my life. So anyway.
Holy shit, Kate.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
It's crazy.
That's really wild.
I have to say in this scene, because this is where Haley is asking for the money, right? She's asking for the 500,000 and then the 750.
Yeah.
Max's delivery of the fuck off.
Oh,
So
so
good.
good. So good.
Okay.
Yeah, I agree.
Fuck you.
It was fantastic delivery. However, I think he's insane for not paying her off.
Like what? That's a crazy move.
Yeah.
Depending on if he, maybe he is secretly poor and there's actually, can't do it. But I don't think that's the case yet. I imagine he has lots of money.
Well, and he seems to be able to just find money somewhere. He can just figure that's an important thing to pay for.
Yes, and it's not that much. She's I would have asked for a lot more if I was her.
It's not a match. He even said that.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, he's like, is that your worth or something? And it's like, you won't even give her that, so...
What a fucking idiot.
Yeah.
Yeah. I hope she takes him down.
Yeah, that made me realize that maybe they don't have that money.
Right. That's the
Yeah.
only reason that he could possibly say no to that.
Not even that amount.
The only logic you can bring to that,
Right. That was the cheapest solution to his problem. Crazy.
which was not his only problem, but
No, but it's one he can take care of easily.
it's also like I didn't clock how disgusting it was the first watch because I didn't realize that the cousin actually was like 14.
Oh, I know. I
Yeah.
had
It
no
was
idea.
disgusting.
Yeah.
See the passport. So I thought, well,
Disgusting.
maybe it's a fake, but like I think she actually was 14 and he just that's the level of no morals that Whitney has is like
Yes. Oh, so
ugh,
gross.
awful.
And it's just crazy because also even with Jonah, we talked earlier in the season, it's not that smart to piss off this guy that much and send him off into the world. You could have done this in a nicer, better way. And now he's just creating another enemy and setting her free. And there's no way that he's not going to pay for any of this.
Yeah, and Kiernan was great in the delivery.
Kiernan was so good. I
Mhm.
loved her in
So
this
good.
scene. And I love when she calls him a fucking try-hard loser as she walks out.
That must have been fun for them to film because I think they're
Yeah.
friends
Yeah.
outside of
Yeah.
this.
That would be very fun. I don't think Whitney's spiraling despite his best efforts not to, and actually calls Harper, who's hanging with Kwabena. She leaves the room quickly, and he tries to appeal to their similarly not aristocratic backgrounds, but she instead accuses him of being nothing but a fucking construct. He holds the company line verbally, parroting the wonder that is Tinder, already becoming the most popular bank for Gen Z, as he pulls money and a fake Lithuanian passport out of his desk. Preparing to run, it seems. When he tells her she's starving for intimacy, she points out the obvious. It's him that called her, him that's starving for intimacy. Although, as happens many times in the show, it's probably true for both of them. And now we hear why the funeral line upset her so much. Sort of. Funerals are important to Harper, a human need for ritualistic grieving. And this was before her mom died, and she didn't even go to her mom's funeral. So it's still so wild to me that it set her off so much. He starts quietly serenading her with some Whitney Houston while he's contemplating his fake Lithuanian passport. Do you guys like his photo in that passport?
I had to pause and stare at it a bit. I have a question about this passport. So Jonah and him went to college together, correct?
Mhm.
Or knew each other from there.
Mhm.
Yes.
So how did he get away with this if he is really from Lithuania? I mean, I guess there's controversy. Is this going to be like his getaway? Is he going to be a fake human?
I think the
Or
Lithuanian passport is the fake. I think that
Yeah.
Whitney Hallstrom is a real person. The Lithuanian is fake, but we've heard
Right.
people say the opposite, which is interesting. I like that there's debate about it,
yeah.
but I think that it doesn't really track because of what you just said about Jonah.
There's history.
Right.
And it's like a go bag.
Because at first I just assumed him singing Whitney Houston was basically like, I don't think Harper realizes, but outing himself like this is a fake name he chose for himself and he's actually Lithuanian. But then I'm like, wait, but Jonah, and he went to college in the US and I don't know. And then now that article, Melissa, that you shared about how they were potentially going to have him saying the voiceover in Lithuanian
Oh, I didn't know that part. That part's very confusing.
throws me off.
So yeah, I just assumed that Lithuanian was a full fake passport, but I had not read this article.
Yeah. If they were going to have him saying the voiceover in Lithuanian, that seems like they're trying to imply that that's his real personality. That's who he really is.
That's
Okay.
what I'm thinking.
What if he born in Lithuania and then was raised in the US?
Yeah,
Yeah.
that could be.
When he's talking to Harper, he says something about people's will to be deceived, and it's when he's looking at his passport or around that time. And I don't know. I don't know if that's just felt coincidental.
Yeah, I don't think I wrote that one down, but I remember him saying that and it being very relevant.
Yep.
So the other thing, though, is that the Vytautas, the name on the passport, seems like it's a reference to Vytautas the Great, which was a ruler of Lithuania.
Right. So a fake name he would pick.
Yeah, like he's a revered national hero, symbol of Lithuanian statehood. Like it just seems like something he'd be like, oh, I'm going to adopt this name of someone powerful.
Right. Grandiose. Yeah. I'm going to ignore whatever this Lithuanian voiceover was and stick with in my head that that's just his getaway passport, fake identity. But I am very aware I could be very wrong.
I'm hoping we'll find out more, but
Yes.
Yeah.
Next week, I hope.
On one hand, I'm hoping we do, but also like this character makes me kind of not care if we don't, because it's so interesting just how complicated and like unknowable it is.
Right. Yeah.
The call between him and Harper felt so intimate to me, though. Like when she talks about intimacy, I just feel like that was very appropriate for the way they're speaking. Like they have the low voices, they're giving like little things away. And I think that relating to her on her background, again, is something that could totally be viewed as manipulation because he wants to try to get her on his side since she's trying to go after his company. But it's also true. So it's like, you can't tell the distinction between doing this for personal benefit versus having like some real connection to this person.
Right.
And then the next call that he makes too, it's like he's just dialing everybody who has stuff against him, but also people that he's had intimacy with.
Exactly. Right. He's clearly craving intimacy if he calls Jonah next.
Yeah.
Yeah. Actually, Harper is very clever in showing him his lack of humanity, empathy, all the stuff. Also, I find it interesting that Harper can call herself a monster because I think that's the way she see herself. You know, I don't think she is one. I just think that she acknowledges her flaws.
But I think that's also something that enables a person, right? Like if that's how you see yourself, you're going to act in a way that supports that.
Right.
Yeah. But Whitney can phantom being seen like as someone bad. I think he constantly tried to dismiss any similar comments by comparing himself to common people. To normal people, you know,
right?
Like middle class, like we are not a hierarchy. We're not.
That's a good observation.
And also he was saying like, oh, I'm not a criminal, you know? Most of the people do the same thing I do. Like he's all the time trying to level up with common people.
And he's rationalizing the behavior.
Yeah, and their mistakes. Like it's not such a big deal.
The funeral was brought up, the funeral topic, and Harper mentions she was chilled by his commentary on it.
Yeah.
I thought it was funny how she was saying, like, it's a human need to deal with that shit, and sort of, you know, and then he asked her if she went to her mother's funeral, and she said no.
They're calling each other out on hypocrisy.
It's so funny.
Yeah, it was just a funny moment of total hypocrisy.
I do think, again, where Whitney is like, you're starving for intimacy, and then Harper says, you called me Whitney. He has that like touche look, like, yeah, you're right. Like everybody is always talking about themselves, and there's always this cycle of like, we can't understand it until it's said back to us, kind of.
Yeah, I find that very, very prolific in this show.
I also thought it was maybe something that Henry in the scene where they're by the river is saying, you know, you always need to have heart. And I guess in some ways I feel like maybe Whitney was like showing that or like trying to lean into that, even if it's not real.
Right.
Maybe as a reference to what Henry told him, because he seemed like he was really taking that in when Henry was telling him that.
Yeah. Sad existence.
But also like maybe longing for that. And, you know, they're all filling that void with ambition. So they can't connect emotionally to anything really. And they wish they could.
Very similar characters.
Like Harper saying, I wish I could grieve my mom, but I can't.
I don't think we talked about this in the last episode, but the line that she says then drove me crazy. It was like, she specifically blamed it on the Tinder short situation as to why, like, she's so annoyed she can't grieve her mom because she has this business thing going on. It's just very funny to me, the way she blames things.
I did think Harper's expression when he's singing was something to dissect. Like, was she creeped out? Was she relating to it? I don't know. She just kind of stares like...
Probably just like, why is this man singing Whitney Houston to me?
It's weird.
Right. I mean, that's the first thought that I had. Yeah.
Like, what? And then she's thinking, wait, this is Whitney Houston. Wait, Whitney Hellstrom. Wait. Huh.
Just putting it all together.
Okay, interesting. What is he trying to say to me?
I felt like maybe, I don't know, I think that a lot of what he does works on people because he knows how to hit the right buttons for people.
Yeah, he's very good at that.
So it's like maybe it's affecting her even though she knows she shouldn't be affected by it.
I would buy that. Also, we did not mention how Jonah responded. Suggests that Whitney get himself a lawyer or kill himself, whatever's cheaper.
Yeah, that was another thing in the column of maybe that's going to happen.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, good point.
But like, what did he think was going to happen when he called Jonah, really? Like,
I know. I'm pleased he picked up the phone just to say that.
Yeah.
Do we think Jonah was aware?
No. He kept
Okay.
saying he doesn't take him to Ghana to meet this like Tony Day guy. I mean, I'm sure he's somewhat aware that, that Whitney might be willing to engage in shady dealings, just like knowing him.
Yeah.
But he definitely kept him out of the loop as far as all that went. So,
Yes.
and then Whitney and Ferdinand are discussing Tony Day, the importance of him not going off message right now. Seems like Ferdinand wants Tony killed, and Whitney is actually the one who calls him off, surprisingly, asks for no violence.
Yeah, I literally wrote down, does off message mean murdered?
Right.
I think it does.
I do too. Yeah, and then Whitney dangerously asks for more information about their enforcement branch. Something that appears to be handled by Ferdinand, who got involved with them long ago when he stole client credentials for them and, in exchange, became CFO within a decade. Something he doesn't appear to regret at all. Whitney's back to dear Henrying. Dear Henry, is it really any surprise we seek control when we're always at the mercy of forces much larger than ourselves?
Dear Henrying. I liked that.
Dear Henrying, it's a verb now.
Man.
I mean, I'm just, yeah, like what's happening here?
I don't know, honestly.
Listen, Ferdinand
He's
is.
shady.
We thought that Whitney was behind all of this, and Ferdinand is like, hold my beer.
Right.
That's what I feel like is happening.
Exactly.
Clearly, there's
Yes.
somebody holding something over, like Whitney's like a puppet for somebody else. And it's just, is it Russian mafia? Is he an intelligent operative for Russia? I'm just, what is going on?
So I Googled the SRV and the FSB, which Ferdinand mentions, and it's Russia's primary civilian foreign intelligence agency and a successor of the KGB. So he's gotten pulled into something, and I guess Whitney is kind of using Ferdinand as the business thug, kind of, right? It seems like Ferdinand was hired to do the dark shit that maybe Whitney wants to separate one step from himself. He needs somebody to take care of the violence and the...
Well, and he had asked, not to have anything violent happen to Tony.
Yeah.
And then Ferdinand was like, oh, I'm glad you have some red line with some certain things or whatever.
But then at the end, when Ferdinand's walking away, he's kind of like, I don't remember the exact line, but he's basically like, we need this to not fall apart because of Tony or because of you. And then Whitney just kind of stares over the balcony and looks back, and it's like, is he owned by Ferdinand too? I don't know.
That's the impression I'm getting, is that Ferdinand is basically a messenger from between him and some other higher power.
Mm-hmm. Because he said a few things, like Ferdinand says they have their methodologies for people who are asking the wrong questions. So it's like they keep referring to this associate or association with whatever that can do things like cause someone to overdose,
Right.
So I don't know. And then when he says we don't want, it might not be a great look for people to not be on message it's just obvious that Ferdinand's using all of this coded language to talk about killing people, right?
Yeah. And he says the narrative thing, you need to keep the narrative. I was very scared of Ferdinand. I never care about his character, but now I'm like, oh, wow.
Yeah, agreed. That was surprising.
Same.
This new development.
Yeah.
Coming out onto the balcony with that deep voice and the dark lighting, such a villain moment standing on that balcony.
Yeah.
It was really good. I thought it was pretty brilliant, actually. That was just mysterious and
very creepy.
So we can guess that Whitney's behind the blackmail, the videos and stuff, but he's not behind the killings.
But I think he has some say in it because he's telling him not to do that with Tony. So he knows what's happening. It's not like he's unaware.
Yeah, probably.
But he's just not the one doing it,
Right. Yeah, I feel like he's involved. I'm genuinely surprised he's protecting Tony's life. That's probably the nicest thing I've seen him do.
Yeah.
True.
Yeah.
I guess maybe he just knew that he'd be able to spin it, and in a way he's maybe right, because if Tony died, that would look real suspicious, but or disappeared. So him being able to flip him the next day in the breakfast looks a lot better, yeah.
Right.
So a little confusion I have, is Ferdinand trying to mine the data from Tinder? What is his end game here? Because I don't think that can be right, because in the scene earlier where they're all on the phone with Whitney on the plane, somebody suggests that. They're like...
Sell client data for cash, yeah.
Yeah, and Ferdinand's like, that's unacceptable.
Yeah. I don't know if that's just a cover for the fact that he's done this a lot. I don't know. It was confusing to me too. And they've had like, crazy amounts of downloads, as they've mentioned in this episode. So he has a lot of client information that can be mined.
I think if they start to sell that data to outsiders of the company, maybe that data won't be able to work for the Russian people.
Yeah.
Maybe they need exclusive data for themselves.
The people Ferdinand's working for.
Exactly. And I think
Yeah.
also is like if he Ferdinand allowed this out loud for the rest of the company, it's like shady.
Yeah.
It's against the privacy politics, probably. I don't know if there is any global privacy policy.
I feel like somebody even mentioned something about that at one point.
I remember something in the first episode, like they were against something like that. So I think it won't be nice of them if people know that they do that. But if they don't, they can use that data for themselves, for the Russian or whatever, in a more private way.
Yeah, that's so smart. That's totally what's happening, I think.
I think they have this image, this public image they want to represent for the external world and the employees and everything. And behind the curtain, Ferdinand and Whitney are really shady.
Yeah, they have their own business that's not really what Tinder is. The front-facing business and then the behind-the-scenes part of it.
That's what I mean. And I think also I don't know, the use of data is very common. So I think it's common, but also is not very good if a company say out loud that they're using their data because it's not correct. It's private.
Well, and also Ferdinand doesn't seem like he's planning to use it for a purpose that the company would even want to be a part of. Like that's like a whole separate thing. The thing that he's doing seems like it's not even related to Tinder or to the people involved in Tinder. It's like Whitney and him are doing a separate thing that the Tinder employees are not remotely aware of, obviously. So Ferdinand has to put on this front of being for the people and supporting privacy when that's not really what's happening behind the scenes. And it kind of makes sense the whole reason they built this app, like
exactly. It's not right to use people's data, especially if it's financial data,
Yeah.
It's private spending information. So basically it's how you spend your money. They have profiles of I don't know, male, female, on their 30s, not only demographics, but very specific how you're spending your money, how you're gaining your money also.
Yeah, they're collecting data on like such a larger scale even than other
exactly
apps or other things may have done. And that could be the whole scam.
They can use this data to, Google does do that.
Right.
All the time, they use their internal data to offer you ads and more stuff, but it's private, it's in their own business. That data is not used outside. They don't sell your private data, and you have to acknowledge and agree to them use your data. So basically, Tinder is not doing that agreement. When you check your agreement contracts, all the time, Tinder maybe is somewhere in that agreement saying, hey, we can use your data to our own purposes, but it's not well seen that they use that data for external people. So I don't think it's clever for them to say out loud that they can sell that data. But Ferdinand and Whitney can give that in a shady way to Russian or whatever they want.
Yeah, because even if Tinder is selling the data, Ferdinand has something going on that they don't know about, that the rest of Tinder, except Whitney, seems like doesn't know about.
Exactly.
Crazy. That feels right. I feel like that's what this is. That was like an amazing point.
It's very shady. It's very common, unfortunately, and should be more regulated.
Yeah.
Companies should be more careful about the data that they share and they use even in their own company.
Yeah, and the security they keep around all that stuff too.
Yeah. Imagine if PayPal used the information they got from us, all the information when you buy something or you transfer money to send money to someone. They start using that for their own purposes.
That's scary.
For sure.
On a personal note, this scene was so reminiscent of the X-Files for me. Like,
Yeah.
just the way, a shadowy figure would come out and talk about their connections with the government and everything that's going on behind the scenes. And they're lit really creepily. And
Right.
it's just,
For sure.
I loved that. Loved that vibe.
Eric's missing a very sweet moment with his daughter when he gets distracted by his world crashing down around him. It's sad, though, because she's genuinely telling him she loves him too much.
The way he pauses because he's on his phone, like he doesn't say I love you back right away.
I know.
Crushing.
And it is. And how genuine she was when she said it. Like, great acting.
She's been kind of a troubling child, but she's always shown love for him, I've noticed.
Right. And he's told us he doesn't necessarily feel the same way, but when she's in that moment being so real with him, it is heartbreaking. But he is also receiving like end of career, end of life news at the same time. So anyway, it's sad. She keeps trying to talk to him and bring his attention back to her, but it's too late for that. He's been sent a video of himself with Dolly that we saw last episode, as well as her passport on which her birthday reveals her to be 14 years old. He's so fucked. As he should be, and he knows it.
It's so awful. So much worse than I was even thinking when I realized what was happening.
Yes. And 14?
14. Because his daughter must not be much younger than that or like around that age.
I think they said they're 13. I thought I heard that. I read that at some point.
Oh, so then it's like extra, like having her in that scene as he's realizing this.
Yeah.
Purposeful. Ugh. Speaking of people who are fucked, Whitney's in his office, actually looking kind of miserable for a moment when Ferdinand calls him with the location and time that Tony Day is meeting with Burgess and Sweet Pea, allowing Whitney a small window to get there first, and he wastes no time. Diarizes to Henry on the way, though. Dear Henry, wealth is the greatest disguise from our truest, most probable states. Does anyone know the song that's playing as they're like racing to the restaurant?
I should, because I used to be able to play it. And Rachel said the same thing on the piano.
Oh, that's funny.
But it's interesting to me that in the previous scene, or not previous, but a couple scenes back when he's talking to Harper and he's like, what's your favorite classical song?
Right. That's what I thought too.
And then this famous classical music is playing.
That we cannot name.
Yeah, which is very bad. I'm going to feel really shitty about this later when I'm like, no, you should have known that.
I know. Anyway, it's a jaunty, fun little piece while they're racing through the streets of London. And Whitney gets there first. He reminds Day how much Whitney has done for him over the years and that they've done nothing. But Day staying on message here can save them all. They're not criminals, they're brothers. The success and scale of Tinder will cover up everything they've done to get here, but Tony maintains you can't backfill a lie and make it true. Certainly not one of these proportions. Sweet Pea arrives along with Burgess, horrified by the scene in front of her, Whitney feeding Day his bullshit lies. But Whitney's done. He's said his spiel and he leaves as they approach, loudly introducing himself to Sweet Pea and suggesting the blueberry pancakes. When they sit down and assure Day he's doing the right thing, he says he hopes so, and it's very unclear which side he's going to take.
Yeah, he did go with that too, like just not clear. Because in both moments, in both scenes with those people sitting with him, you think he's on their side, or you think maybe he's going to go with what they want.
Right. That was my takeaway from that little scene, how well he was acting it.
Mm-hmm. Sweet Pea is wearing such a great, like, grandma's sofa blazer. Like, it's the pattern of, like, an old sofa. I love it.
I really loved this scene. I thought it was so good. The way he delivered every line, it was like poetry. It was just so good. Whitney's portion of it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I like rewound. This was like the first scene I like had to rewind because I was just like so lost in what he was saying and also not really understanding it fully, so needed to go back a few times. But yeah.
And he kind of like increases his speed, obviously, when he sees that they're there. Like he has to quickly get out what he wants to say. You can tell he's getting rushed.
Something about Max is he delivers lines so quickly, so well. He did this in Handmaid's Tale too.
Yeah.
There was like a certain scene where he was arguing with June and like it was like a tongue tie sentence, tongue twister. He just delivers these things so eloquently. I just can't help but wonder like how many takes did that take?
Right.
Whitney's next stop is CNN, where he gets surprised by an unexpected guest, too. Eric Tao has arrived ready for battle. Sweet Pea, Harper, and Kwabena are watching from their hotel office, and Harper explains Eric insisted he go instead of Harper. On CNN, they're happily trading barbs until there is yet another surprise guest. Tony Day has arrived to rescue Whitney and Tinder with his lies. Sweet Pea and Burgess failed to swing him to their side, and this is the first Harper has even heard about him beating them to breakfast, which I found surprising. Why wouldn't they have immediately told her? Anyway, Tony maintains the party line. Things are done differently in Africa, and that's all that's happening here. It's nothing but anti-African prejudice that is motivating Eric and Harper and Tal Stern. Whitney further objects to the fact that they brought Eric on here, since he will financially benefit if Whitney and Tinder do fail. But Eric pulls an M&M from 8 Mile. However bad you want to tell the audience I am, let me tell them. I assure them I'm worse. But that doesn't change the fact that this guy is also a very bad guy. All Eric demands in the end is 2 words: new audit. And that is what will bring them down. I love that scene. I thought he did great.
Mm-hmm. I'm shocked that new audit wouldn't just be like the first thing that would happen when all this started coming out, though.
Right.
Maybe I just don't know how it works.
I'm not sure who can demand a new audit. You have to be audited, but as long as your auditing firm is an accredited accounting firm.
And also, it's something that takes time.
A ton of time.
It's not instantly.
No, it takes months.
And what is going to happen to tenders acquisitions during that time? Like, they can stand in a fixed value, they will float.
They're going to trigger the call from Pierpoint and owe them a ton of money. Except this appearance did apparently make the stock go up enough to just like not trigger that.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, if you get a new auditor, it takes months to be audited, and during that time you would have to think it would probably go back down.
Yeah.
I thought Tony played the part of like random CNN interviewee so well.
Yeah.
It felt so realistic, like as
did.
if he was really just on
CNN.
CNN.
Yes.
Yeah, thought he did really well.
Do we think Eric has any idea that Whitney is connected to the blackmail with the underage girl?
I'm going to say yes, just because who else would do that? I mean, maybe he has a ton of enemies actively at the moment we're not aware of, but I'm going to say he went into this knowing that that man has this information and I'm going to go down, but I would like to take him down with me.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
And that's why he went instead of Harper too, insisted on going, because like he didn't want him to spring it on Harper or something.
Yeah, because for a second when Eric is like, wait, actually I'm terrible, I thought, is he gonna say this on the air? Like, what is happening? And obviously that doesn't make sense after you think about it.
I did too, though. I was like,
yeah, in the moment you're like, wait, what? But what Eric did, I felt like, was kind of the way that Henry manipulated the audience in, I guess it was episode 4 with his speech, where he switched to it being from his heart. It was more like personal stuff to kind of appeal to people. I think Eric did that here and did it very well.
Right. He's good at having these moments of self-awareness that somebody sent something earlier. It's just like, 5 minutes later, turns around and it's a terrible person again. But
for sure. Whitney, or I guess Max, is just really good too at showing these like brief moments of confused panic with Eric in the scene, and then goes right back to adopting the kind of smug smirk thing.
Yeah.
Really good. Because you don't see a lot of that, like the edges fraying in other episodes. This one you can see it in so many different moments where you're like, oh, he actually is feeling the pressure here. But then he just slips right back into like, no, I got this, we're good.
Yeah.
Overconfidence.
He's very good pretending everything.
Mm-hmm.
He's a fascinating character. I love this character.
Yeah, he's so bad, but he's so compelling.
Uh-huh. Surprisingly, Henry's showed up to work today and starts screaming to get their current auditor, Jacob, on the phone for a difficult conversation. And then Haley's gone to visit Yaz and given her all the tea. Whitney hires his assistants from escort agencies. We find out about the Abu Dhabi thing. She flew to Al Mirage, and her mission was to get this one man into a room that had a camera set up. It sounds like the Abu Dhabi thing that bothered her so much was actually quite similar to what he had her do with Yaz and Henry. Sex in a room that's being recorded.
Also, that's the people that took over Pierpoint.
It is, yeah.
So, like,
what does that mean? Yeah.
Yeah, like, was Whitney, are we going back in time and he was involved in that?
Maybe it could help with his current problem of Pierpoint.
Yeah.
About to call their money. I don't know. He's everywhere.
Yeah, I guess it wouldn't have to have been prior to the merger. It could have been like since then that he was like, I need an in with them to get more money from them.
I just think because they've mentioned it so specifically, like
Yeah.
twice in this episode, I feel like it must be relevant and we'll find out more. I don't know.
I agree.
I'm like amazed that he knew that he needed that tape for the future.
Mhm.
Like,
Yeah.
how?
I think it's just doing it for
To
anything
everybody.
all the time, just keeping a
A record.
Just in case.
a
Yeah.
file of this so that
Yeah.
if you need it, it's there.
Of so many people, man. Impressive reach.
Yeah. But I don't understand how Yaz didn't question why Whitney would have known about that anyway. Because he makes
Right.
that comment and she looks at Haley and they both know, like, oh, Whitney knows what happened at the castle.
Very specific.
Why would she not have asked some questions? Like, how does he know that?
Yes, she should have. It was something like, you take half his load off of her. It was
Yeah.
something that was just so clearly.
Let her take half of his load off you.
Yes. I don't know. She should have asked. Yeah, so she just says he exploits fragile people, and what Haley wants from Yaz now is access. She wants to meet people. She wants to have what Yaz has.
I think Haley is similar to Whitney because she wants what Jasmine has. Like,
Yeah.
she wants to be Jasmine, the same way that Whitney wants to be Henry.
Mm-hmm. True.
That's an excellent point.
Yeah. When Yaz says, "Do you understand me?" at the end, and then Haley says, "In any way you ask." I'm like, okay, so is Haley trying to do the same thing she did for Whitney, but now for Yaz? That's kind of what it sounded like to me.
Yeah, everything she said feels kind of escort coded. She's willing. She just wants more from the arrangement than she's getting from Whitney's.
And she's like jumping from the sinking ship, kind of, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I think Haley doesn't know more than that, so it's what she does, like it's the service she can bring to the table.
Yeah, because I think when Whitney says that to her, like, you don't know anything. Like, she probably doesn't really know much. And even when she's talking to Yaz in the scene and doesn't know Al Mirage, like, she's trying to think of the term and she can't quite land it, and Yaz has to supply it for her. Like, she probably doesn't know that much of that side of the business. But what she has been doing is big news. Like, she could blow things up just from what she does know. So she just has different.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When Harper arrives at the hotel to congratulate Eric on crushing the assignment, she's surprised by the presence of a lawyer and Eric's entire demeanor. He wants to sign the whole company over to her before his sexual exploits take it all down, but he doesn't exactly explain the whys of it to her, and it makes her furious. I was kind of moved when Eric's telling her he's going to let the lawyer speak instead of him as his voice is shaking.
Oh, he's so good in this scene.
Yeah.
Like, he's so despicable, and you still feel like a little bit emotional about it because of the way he's acting.
Yes, his acting is incredible. Leung, this is probably one of my favorite scenes with the way he delivered all of that. You could just really feel, a lot of times I don't feel that much sympathy for the characters in this show. And he obviously is a monster and doesn't deserve it for his actions, but the way that he delivered that line, I just want to give credit to the actor.
Exactly. Yeah. I feel like this is also one of the few kind of selfless things that he's done because he is giving this up for her benefit.
Yeah, that is another layer of things you don't see often in this show, and it feels striking for that.
Yeah, and even the way he says, like, I didn't think I could feel pride for anyone that wasn't me.
Yeah.
That line was perfect.
Yeah.
Like, you can feel that he's proud of her.
Yeah.
For me, it was very honorable
Yeah.
of him to do it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he doesn't even he only asked for his initial investment back. Bare minimum asks here. Paying for all the exchange, everything.
Yeah, and I think like what Melissa was just saying, I think the fact that he feels pride for Harper too is probably part of what's making him act this way. Like making him make this choice because he's like, I'm in a position I've never been in my life before, and this makes me want to be generous, if you can say that. But now I'm like, okay, so is this something that could turn his personal life around because he realizes he's capable of feeling this way about someone and should be feeling this way about his daughters?
Right.
So I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah. This reminded me the first episode when we were talking about how Eric sees Harper. So thank God it was nothing sexual.
Right.
But he was really interested in Harper as a person and as a coworker and a business partner.
Right. Yes, this was a relief in the end that it went more familial and business partner.
And I mean, even though we're saying like, okay, he has pride in someone else's accomplishments, like he's kind of involved in that too, though, because he's been mentoring her since she was at Pierpoint. So like you could say that by extension, that's kind of his accomplishment or something. Right. Like he could feel pride because it's an extension of him. But you'd think he'd feel that way for his kids too. I don't know.
I think he's more involved in Harper.
Yeah.
She's in the same lane he's in life. She's in the same business.
He's interested in what she does, not the actions of his teenage daughters.
Sadly, yes.
Exactly. He was more invested in Harper's growth than in his kids. So I think that's why he is so interested in doing this and take away the problem from Harper. It was his mistakes. So he's taking accountability.
Right.
Yeah.
I liked the scene. But he refuses to tell her why he's doing this, even when she confronts him, because he tells her he doesn't want her to remember him this way. So she furiously signs the document and walks back to tell him this is how she's going to remember him forever. Before she walks out, trying to hold back tears, and leaves him there also trying to hold back tears.
I felt something for Harper a bit too in this scene, honestly.
Yeah.
Because she feels betrayed by him now.
And abandoned.
Yes.
She's abandoned all the time by people.
Right.
So it's so sad.
Especially because Eric spent the first half of the season trying to get closer to her.
Right.
And get her to open up to him. And now he's just like dropping her off a cliff, kind of.
Right. It is very sad.
I also thought it was something that Eric says, and no funeral, when they're talking about the things he wants.
I didn't work it into my notes, but I knew that we were going to discuss it because what the fuck? Why did he say that? It was not relevant to the things they were listing at the time. Like,
I guess he just meant no send off from the business. Like, don't make a big deal out of this.
Okay.
But
there's just so many like funeral and death and suicide references all episode that it's like, who's going to kill themselves?
The funeral themes are strong, and the lack of wanting it, it's kind of like the same thing with Harper. Like, I don't want to go to my mom's funeral. Eric, I don't want a funeral. Like, there's something going on with that through line that I can't quite.
Yeah, put your finger on.
Yeah.
Do you think we will have one funeral, two funerals?
Yes, I do think that. Well,
more.
I don't know if there will be a funeral because people don't like each other that much to like show up to funerals.
No one's gonna show up.
Other than that, yes, I'm sure there'll be a death.
Yeah.
Another death.
Probably a suicide.
I'm sure. About the suicide, I'm sure. I can bet on it.
I know. I was like, I wonder what the odds would be. You can bet on anything these days.
I don't think it's going to be Rishi because it's too obvious.
He's done. He tried.
Yeah, that's it for him.
But I would say Whitney. But also maybe Eric. I feel like Eric's is not going to come out. He's going to like get lucky and he'll be back for next season. I think Whitney is going to kill himself. That's my prediction. And obviously will not be surprised when it's totally wrong.
People on Twitter were saying that Jasmine will kill Henry.
Henry. Oh, that's a fun one.
Yes.
I could see. You're right. He's going to die.
People have made a lot of comments of like, let Whitney and Henry have some fun before he kills him kind of comments. Yeah. So I'm just like, yeah, that feels right. But now I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe Ferdinand's going to go kill Henry.
Yeah, and there's the Ferdinand of it all. I forgot, like, again, like all throughout the season, like you said, I've barely been remembering his name, and now he's a whole different character.
Yeah, but he's so creepily supportive of Whitney, too. I kept thinking, like, this is weird, like his level of yes-manning everything. Yeah. I don't know.
Well, it'll be interesting to see. Ferdinand and Whitney come into Henry's office. Henry kicks Ferdinand out, of course, and Henry informs Whitney that he fired their friendly auditor. A grave mistake, Whitney calls it. Henry does not care. He finally sees how Whitney's played him. And to the tune of some very foreboding music, Whitney delivers Henry his Dear Henry letter. It seems his Dear Henrys all episode were attempts at the opening of this letter, but in the end he decided to abandon poetry altogether. Fact is, Henry is already implicated, and their only way out of this is to band together and attack their detractors, i.e. Stern Tao. He concludes with his first Dear Henry, "There's a hole in my bucket." And the episode ends with Eric walking down a tree-lined street, seeming free, to the sounds of Both Sides Now by Joni Mitchell, which has made me sad ever since Love Actually. Have you guys seen Love Actually?
I have, but it's been too long to remember that song played into it.
Same.
It's when Emma Thompson discovers that Snape is cheating on her. Alan Rickman is cheating on her. And she just has to like school her face and go to the children's concert afterwards. And she's just taking a moment to like pull it together, and it's so sad. Okay.
Okay. Yeah, the Eric walking off kind of made me think it was symbolic of him like returning to a more low-key life with his family, or like committing more to that.
Yes.
I don't know if that's true, but or if he could maintain it.
Yeah, I was surprised at the spring in his step after all that, but my take was he definitely felt a load off giving all that over to Harper and trying to protect her.
I mean, in some ways, in a lot of ways, like he said, that brings the worst out in him in every part of his life. Like being involved in something like that takes over, and he's consumed by it and can't access any potentially good parts about himself when he's in the midst of that. So maybe he's gotten out.
I would be surprised if he escapes unscathed. He didn't earn it quite as much as Rob did, I think.
Oh, he's
Robert.
far from earned it. He needs to do some jail time, something. Like,
yeah,
for sure.
I think it's not the end for Eric. I think we might see something. I don't think he's closure, even when the scene is very clear. Like it seems like a closure, but I don't think
it would be weird if it was,
Yeah.
and you don't see him again, for sure. Yeah,
I could see him feeling that way briefly and then having kind of a return.
as usual.
pay the consequences.
Yeah, because that's how the season really started out. He wasn't content with his life and had to return to the mania of the world that he was from.
Can we talk about what Whitney's doing in the elevator?
Elevator? Yeah, changing out a SIM card in the same shot that Nick was. Yeah, we can talk about that for a second. I was like, what is happening? It's like the same freaking shot. It's like from below.
From below, yes. But I mean, he's talking to the Russian service. Who is talking to?
It said Japanese in the subtitles, which was interesting. I don't know why. And then that's when he's on the phone and he gives the code.
Oh.
So maybe it's just he's got his own people that helped him with his escape route.
Maybe.
That was pretty slick. The like code and everything. I was like, this is good. I like this.
I thought it was Ferdinand people. I thought they were like working together in the exit.
I mean, that would make some sense, but I almost feel like Ferdinand doesn't know about this.
Yeah, it also makes sense.
Like he's trying to privately bail and nobody is aware of it and just leave everybody else responsible.
Right, that's the impression I got. I don't know. We'll see.
So I really love how in this scene, Henry is owning getting wise about everything. Like Whitney's trying to tell him he needs board approval to fire the auditor, and he's like, "Yeah, I don't actually. I'm the CEO. Fuck you.
You stupidly made me."
Yeah.
Also, he's hurting himself in doing this. He's not trying to protect himself from the fallout. He's saying, "Fuck it. I want actual honesty and transparency. Let's find out what's happening."
Which might help him in the end, though, if he is implicated, because it will at least show that he was like, "Oh no, I tried to."
Right.
Turn this
when
around
I found out, I started like a week ago.
Exactly.
Let's think that he's actually a little bit clever and he's doing this for that reason and
I would
not
like
because
that.
he's a moron. So, yeah.
I like his character too. I like this season a lot. It's so different from the previous seasons. I was saying, Dave, like the world has really opened up into a whole different place. But I'm enjoying. All the characters are good.
All the characters and the actors behind them are even more great.
Yes, the cast is phenomenal.
That's phenomenal.
It's incredible.
Yeah, this whole season was written so brilliantly. Like, I feel like things are starting to come together in a way that it like honors the story they've been telling for the whole season, but also leaves room for these little surprises in the characters. I don't know. You just, all the stuff that you found out in this episode was exciting, and it didn't feel like unearned twists or anything.
I'm very much looking forward to next week. This week's wait was so much longer because it came out on Friday the week before.
I know.
I'm like, wait a minute. I feel like I've been waiting a really long time, and I have.
Yeah.
But the episode worth it, 100%.
Yes, for sure.
So good.
For sure. I'm glad it was this episode we waited longer for. All right, I think that's a wrap on our discussion of Industry. Season 4, Episode 6. Come back next week for Episode 7. Thanks for listening.
Bye.